welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then welcome. I'm Kayla. I'm mum to a toddler and I am also a childminder, an early years childminder. On my channel I tend to talk a lot about Montessori. It's one of the philosophies that I discovered when my daughter was really young, and it really kind of connected with me and the way that I wanted to bring her up. I'm no expert in Montessori. I've studied it, I've learned a lot about it, obviously since becoming a childminder as well, because I use it within my setting. But I'm also influenced by lots of other kind of learning styles as well. I talk a lot about open-ended learning, open-ended play, child-led play, and lots of nature play and bringing nature into everyday. And those are the kind of things that I tend to talk about really, enhancing curiosity, independence, bringing up children who are kind of self-driven and self-directed and those types of things. So if you're interested in any of that within like the early years, young toddlers, older toddlers, my child has actually just turned 3, which I can't quite believe, then yeah, do subscribe below for future content. So today's video is going to be a little bit different to what I would usually do. I get asked all the time about book recommendations and places to learn about Montessori and these types of approaches. So I'm going to share with you all of my favourite books that I've read that I would recommend, and all of my favourite places to learn about this type of approach, and all the other things that I do videos on. So about open-ended learning, about nature play, forest schooling, about what else is there? Yeah, the child-led approach, a curiosity approach, all these types of things that we love. I'm going to share with you my favorite podcasts, my favorite vlogs, my favorite blogs, my favorite books, all the places that I go to get really good, valuable knowledge and information. So yeah, if that's of interest to you, then keep watching and I'll share with you what I'm going to share with you. And give you some really great places to go and find out more. So one of my favourite ladies is a lady called Nicole Kavanagh. She has a really successful blog called the Kavanagh Report, and it's really primarily Montessori based. She talks a lot about the Montessori approach. She follows it with her 4 children, I think now she's got children ranging from like 9 to barely 2, I think. She's got a really fantastic Instagram, and I'll link that here. But her blog is really great if you have a specific question. So I've been on there to find out things about, she does a lot of quiet time with her children, how she goes about it, really great insights about sleep routines, setting up activities, different sensitive periods, all that kind of stuff that's all part and parcel of Montessori. She's got loads of great examples of toys and resources, and she shares all of her playroom, toy rotations and that kind of thing. So I definitely recommend her. But yeah, she's someone that I absolutely love. She has a really good podcast as well. She's kind of got a finger in all the pies, called Shelf Help, where she talks with another fellow Montessori mum, and they talk about all sorts of different subjects every week, and I think she has guests and things on there too, so I listen to that as and when I can. But I really love her approach. I love how much she shares of her family life. She's got a super sweet family, and it's just really great insights into how a Montessori family kind of goes and runs every day. She shares the challenging stuff as well as the more positive stuff, which I really love, because I always try and be real, and I like that in people that I take information from and connect with. So I'd absolutely recommend her as someone to kind of go to for more inspiration and more knowledge really. So another podcast that I would absolutely recommend is one called Child from the Redwood. It's actually one of Nicole Kavanagh's close friends called Aubrey Hargis. I came across her because I signed up to a newsletter regarding some courses that we're doing together at one point. I don't think they're doing that anymore. But then I found her podcast, A Child of the Redwood, and I really just love how positive she is. She's American, And she's just super positive. I think she was raised in a Montessori school, so she has Montessori like right from the beginning, all through her family, and it was a type of approach that she had when she was growing up. But she's kind of continued that with her children. She's an educator, she does lots of courses and things, she's super knowledgeable. But I just love how real she is. She's really into kind of Montessori for everybody, Montessori on a budget, so lots of DIY Montessori activities. She's all about not spending a fortune on it, and being thrifty and scrappy, and that's also my kind of thing as well, so that's why I really resonate with her. But her podcast is really helpful. I would definitely check that out, and she's super positive and just a super happy person, and yeah, I just enjoy listening to her. She makes me smile, so that's why I would recommend her. So another podcast that I listen to quite a bit is Janet Lansbury. She has a podcast called Unruffled. If you don't know about Janet Lansbury, she kind of follows the RIE method, which is more about respectful parenting. So not specifically Montessori, but respectful parenting and Montessori kind of go hand in hand, really. But yes, her podcast is all about answering questions that she's received from mums regarding really difficult situations they've been going through, and her answer to that. She gives really good examples of communication and the better ways you can deal with difficult situations, you know, like if your toddler was biting or hitting, or if they were kind of spending a lot of time on their own when they were upset, how to connect better with them. It's all about being respectful and understanding toddlers from a different point of view. I think that's what she's helped me with, is not thinking of them as these little terrors who want to cause trouble and make our life difficult. She kind of helps you to understand how they feel inside, you know, from a scientific point of view as well. She's super knowledgeable, and she knows her stuff. But yeah, just to kind of understand how they're feeling, and how they might be feeling in a particular situation when you think they're being difficult. Actually, they're feeling this way. But yeah, it's just about opening your mind to different possibilities and trying to be better connected with your toddler. So her podcast is called Unruffled, and yeah, she's been doing it for quite a long time, so there's loads on her list that you can scroll back and listen to. Yeah, she's definitely someone I would recommend. I also have read some of her books as well. I've read a book that she did called Elevating Childcare, which I found really awesome. It covered from a baby to toddler. She tends to be an expert in that area. Up to toddlerhood is more her expertise. But yeah, it was really great. The kind of way to bring up your children in a respectful way, how to deal with situations. She's got a couple of different books, but Elevating Childcare I found really great. I've actually reread it 3 times, I think, and I always enjoy it. It always gives me something helpful every time I read it, and just helps me to better soak it in. That's a really great recommendation. So this is one book I would recommend, The Montessori Toddler. This is by somebody called Simone Davies. I realise that's backwards because I've got my camera around the other way today. But I'll show you the details of it in just a moment. So yeah, this book isn't that old. I think it only was released maybe a year ago or a year or 2 ago. But I absolutely love it. It's really beautiful. It's super detailed, but I just love the font and all the little illustrations. It covers so many things regarding Montessori for a complete beginner, really. So introductions into how we interact with toddlers, loads of activity ideas regarding all these areas of learning, encouraging curiosity, accepting the child for who they are, you know, how to set up your home, which is always a difficult one when you're starting out in Montessori. You always want to have a good yes space and a good environment. But yeah, it's really great. And what I love is in the home section, there's loads of examples of great spaces all across the world. Lots of pictures and examples of play spaces and practical areas. Loads of activity ideas as well. Let me see if I can find it. Gosh, no, I can't. But yes, anyway, it's a really great book. Super easy to digest, really easy to read and refer back to. And yeah, I just love it. It's great for those who are new to Montessori and just want to want to learn a little bit more. So this is a book I read recently. I didn't realise at the time, but it's more on the side of homeschooling, but it's a really great book for just learning about, it says here, reclaiming wonder in your child's education. It's really great because it's all about the current systems in schools and how children are rushed through their childhood. It's about bringing them back to kind of a slow pace and following your child in what they want to learn and not rushing them, really accepting them for who they are, letting them connect with nature and take their time through childhood, with where they want to go. It covers all different approaches in here, Montessori and Waldorf, and talks about all that kind of stuff. Talks about if you homeschool your children and how they carry on, into colleges and universities, and the whole ethos of homeschooling, really. I think in today's in today's world, homeschooling has suddenly become quite acceptable. So those people who might have thought it was weird, it's actually a really great option for children now, especially during COVID, since people have been forced to kind of homeschool and they've never even considered it before. And I think people are finding actually maybe it's not that difficult, or actually maybe it is really difficult and I can't do it. But anyway, it's nice to open people's eyes and see that it is an option. So yeah, it talks about socialization, because I know with homeschooling, one of the factors in why people don't do it is because they're worried about not having enough children to interact with. It's got all these wonderful sections, but ultimately Wild and Free is like a whole community where people connect and mums and families connect, and they all homeschool and they're all part of this wonderful community where they support each other. But this is just a really wonderful book, and it opens your eyes into how we can slow our pace and just be more connected with our children and what they're learning, and just follow them and all that wonderful stuff that we love. But yes, it's not Montessori, but it's the kind of approach that I really appreciate. So this book was one that I got when I realised that I was going to be an early years educator, when I wanted to be a childminder. I started learning more about child development, but this is one of the first books I got when I was on maternity leave. And although it is aimed at early years educators and teachers and all that kind of stuff, I would definitely read it as a parent as well. It's really good at just explaining the way that children play. It's really good at helping you understand the types of play and the kind of benefits of it, and just learning how children interact and all those kind of things that you might not know as a new parent. Why children test boundaries, what kind of resources they enjoy playing with, reading, and how they learn. It's just so detailed. And it's called Can I Go and Play Now? Because it's that sentence, isn't it? That thing that children used to say when they wanted to go, when you think that you're engaging with a toddler and you're doing something fun together and they go, oh, can I go and play now? Like you're making them do something they don't want to do. It's about making everything play. So this is another book that I would recommend. I'm actually rereading this at the moment, called No Such Thing as Bad Weather. It's actually written by a Scandinavian mum. She comes from Sweden, but she actually married an American and she moved to America and she had children. So she's raising her children in America, and it's just showing kind of the difference between her childhood growing up in Sweden compared to what it's like being a child in America. She actually ends up taking her children back to Sweden. I think her father was ill, but she's kind of going through the differences between the US education system and culture compared to the Scandinavian. And it just talks so much about Sweden's connection with nature, how much time they spend outdoors, all the benefits, the pros and cons between, different ways that different education systems in different cultures and countries. And I love that. It's actually, first time I read it, I literally wanted to jump on a plane and go and live in Sweden and take my child with me and take my whole family and just live in wilderness and bring my child up, with this pure connection with nature, which I mean, Sweden and Scandinavia has always been appealing to me as a place to raise children. And this book just kind of helps me see that, really. It's just it resonates so much with what I want for my child. So although it's not practical to just jump on a plane and go and live in Sweden, this book really helps with my everyday in how much time we spend in nature, the kind of culture of spending time outdoors and just raising children who are resilient and it can play anywhere. It's just such a wonderful book. I love learning about all these different cultures. So yeah, I definitely recommend this. It's such a lovely book. So then my last blog recommendation is Montessori in Real Life. This is an American mum and she has 2 children now, but when I started reading her blog, it was when my daughter was quite young, and she has a daughter of very similar age. So as I was kind of following along, the development level was quite similar with where I was at or where my child was at the time. But it was super helpful for just seeing how a Montessori home is and how I love just looking into other people's lives and just seeing how they do things, if there's any inspiration I can take or better ways things that I can take on board. But yeah, they've got a lovely home. The way that she does Montessori in her home is really lovely. The activities are wonderful. And yeah, it's just a really helpful blog. She's got a really cool Instagram too. It's quite big now, quite a popular blog, I think. She's got a lot of followers. But yeah, it's just lovely. It's just a lovely, inspiring family. I think the best way that you can find out things is really from other mums and people who have been through it or are going through it or have helpful information to pass on. And, you know, as a mum, I know what people want to know because I want to know it too. So you have that kind of knowledge that no one else can give you, really. But anyway, I hope that makes sense. I think I'm kind of waffling on a little bit, so apologies for that. But anyway, those are my recommendations for books, for podcasts, for blogs. And I hope that's been really helpful for you. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. I'd love to have you on this journey with me. I tend to post once a week, but I'm getting a bit quicker. I'm trying to do it every kind of 5 days. Definitely speeding up on the whole editing process. So yeah, do tune in, and thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do like if you like, and I always love to hear your comments. If there's anything that you want me to do a video on, anything you want to know, then do comment below, and I'm totally happy to take that on board. And I love connecting with you as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.